Hey everybody, Motorpoet59 here. Talk a little bit about some things that are going on in Canada right now with the news organizations up there, the supposed news organizations, because their news organizations are like ours. They're not really news organizations. There's a couple of them that are, but as it is with America, the liberals run the news organizations in Canada. The difference is that in Canada, many of these news organizations are funded, at least in part, by the government. And the government in Canada is 100% liberal. There is just no conservative power at all there. Canada, under Justin Trudeau, has essentially become a dictatorship. And it is trickling down, or has trickled down, to news organizations and now to Facebook. I'm sure it is the same with any other social media platform up there, but Facebook are the ones who have been called out on this. What happens in Canada is these news organizations are given a license if the reporting that they do is deemed actual news. Anything contrary to what the government has to say is deemed not to not be news and is therefore downgraded on all news platforms and on Facebook in particular. And downgraded means that whatever they print up, they put it on there, but it goes down to the bottom where people aren't generally going to go that far to look unless they're searching for a specific news item or a specific news item by one of these conservative news organizations, one of which is called Rebel News. The attacks on Rebel News by the Canadian government began during the pandemic. They were one of the groups up there, one of the news groups that stood against vaccine mandates. They weren't standing against vaccines. They had no problem with the vaccines, but like me, my personal self, they were opposed to the mandates. And this downgrade of their news position and on social media platforms, particularly Facebook, they were put to the bottom and in some cases not mentioned at all, not even put on there. As I started to say a minute ago, the government empowers these panels. This isn't a thing that news organizations or Facebook determines so much as it is a panel that was empowered by the government to determine what is and what is not news. And that is as close to communist doctrine as it gets. The government gets to determine what you can and can't say. And we say that won't happen in America, or that can't happen in America. I'll bet you that 15 years ago, that's what the people in Canada were saying. Oh, we'll never lose our freedom of speech. The difference, one of the big differences between Canada and the United States is Canada doesn't have a constitution like we have. It doesn't have a constitution that empowers the people. We do have that, but the Democrats, the leftists, are chipping away at that a little piece at a time, and people are allowing it to happen. And the next amendment that is being slowly chipped away at, now it's not being slowly chipped away anymore, is the First Amendment. They mean, in Canada and in the United States, to take away the people's right to speak their mind if their mind doesn't toe the line with the government line. If they don't fall in line with that agenda, with that liberal agenda, with that leftist agenda, with that socialist communist thought process, if you don't follow that, you're going to lose your right to speak. It's already happening. Rebel News, getting back to that, has filed a lawsuit against Justin Trudeau. Now, I don't know if it's against Trudeau himself or if it is against the administration. I'm not sure how lawsuits against the government work in Canada, but Trudeau would not grant Rebel News a license. His empowered panel wouldn't. That's censorship, plain and simple. If you can't print, you know what? And it doesn't matter if it's a truth or if it's a lie, because the Democrats here and in Canada have been printing lies, spewing lies out on social media, whether it's video, just in print, it doesn't matter. They've been doing it ever since I can remember. So that's not really the issue, whether or not it's true. The issue is whether or not it lines up with their agenda. Unfortunately, Canada has gone from a good, solid democracy to a fascist, authoritarian dictatorship under Justin Trudeau. And America had better pay attention because, like I said, that stuff is trickling down. And I don't just mean from the north to the south, it's trickling down. There are enough leftists in the United States who hate the Constitution and who hate conservatism and who hate the will of the people. They just hate the will of the people. They talk about the will of the people, but when they talk about the will of the people, they are only talking about themselves as people. The rest of us are not people to them. And if we don't pay attention here in America, the things that are going on in Canada are going to start happening here. And platforms like the conservative version of Facebook, I can't even remember what it's called. I don't use it because, as I've said before, I don't need to preach to the choir. I want people who disagree with me to hear what I have to say. I don't need people going, yeah, thumbs up, 100%. I don't need that. I want to get under the skins of people who disagree with me. But search engines like DuckDuckGo, those kind of things are going to start being taken away from us if we don't pay attention. So let's pay attention. What do you think about all that? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motorpoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content. We'll see you all later.